Greetings, and salutations, one and all. Happy hump day. How you doing? Welcome to the end of the night shift week. This is where we kick off the strong end. I want to say welcome to each and everyone. Whether you're tuning in on TuneIn Radio, the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Steele, Rotterbox.net, all the Rotterbox affiliates that are carrying the show. Top of the morning to you over there in the UK, One Harmony Radio, big ups. Musical genius. Enough respect. Second star, Ricardo Jewel. Track is called Wayward. Good evening, 570.
It must be there, tell me how you live it. We gon' live it up. If the thing needs turning, we gon' turn it up. One thing we not giving, we not giving.
Yeah, we're definitely living it up. I want to say special thanks to Pulse Media Group, pulseemg.com, 754-999-6020. When being in a moment is priceless, get in touch with them. You know, it's coming up to Christmas time. Yeah, I said it's Christmas. You know, Thanksgiving is like next week. So Christmas is in 2 weeks. You don't need to go look at your calendar. You know it's true. So the Patrice Roberts, warming you up for some deep conversation. The track is called Till Morning. Big up Smarland. Thank you for warming up everybody for me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never caught the show, Real Rockers, Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 10. Marlon Burrell takes you to places that just blows your mind. One more. Just one more for you.
Your bumper is a magnet. I stick on like a magnet. A magnet. Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that stick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that flick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that.
My girl, oh, you do that.
Make that stick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do.
Yeah, you.
Yellow, you make that flick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that stick. Ah, whoa.
You born with it?
That trick. Yellow, you make that flick. Ah, whoa.
How you learn it?
Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that stick. Ah, whoa.
Is it something you acquired along the way?
Magnetic, that thing just sticking on, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on me. On me.
Current Dubois.
Sticking on, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on me.
Or Dubois.
On me.
Depending on who you are.
Push it back on me, yeah. You know I love it so bad. Push it back.
Prayers still going out to those in Trinidad.
Look at me in the face when you're beating me with that waist. When you're beating me with that waist, I just latch on, cause I can't let go yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your bumper is a magnet. I stick on like a magnet.
I kind of forgot to
Let go yet.
change the screen.
Your bumper
My bad.
magnet. I stick on like a magnet. A magnet. Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that stick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that flick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that trick. Yellow, you make that stick. Ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that.
The show is called The Night Shift.
That thing just sticking on, sticking.
Happens on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. KevinStew.com.
Oh, baby girl, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on me.
On Wednesday night, we do a thing we call Real Talk. Welcome 135. 773-79 Stew gets you in touch.
When you're beating me with that waist, when you're beating me with that waist, I just latch on, cause I can't let go yet.
And I encourage you to
Your bumper is
come chat with me,
stick on,
myself, and I.
I can't let go yet. Your bumper is a magnet, I stick on like a
And I brought in 3 other friends. Id,
yellow,
Ego, Super Ego.
that stick, ah, whoa. Yellow, you do that,
You know them?
yellow, you make that flick, ah, whoa.
Who are they?
That trick, yellow, you make that stick.
Who are you?
Yellow, you do that trick, baby, you're magnetic. That thing just sticking on, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on me, on me. Oh, baby girl, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on,
So,
on me, on me.
perhaps one of Sigmund Freud's single most enduring and important idea was that the human psyche, that thing that we consider to be the human personality, his belief was that it has more than one aspect. Freud's personality theory in 1923 saw the psyche structured into 3 parts: the id, the ego, and the superego, and all developing at different stages of our lives. Now, what exactly drove him to come to the conclusion that that is how that goes, I am not sure. I'd love to sit him down and have a chat, but considering that I have no way to do that, that's a really expensive long distance call. I'll just go with information that I can find. So the 3 parts, the id, the ego, and the superego, develop at different stages in our lives. And these are systems, not parts of the brain. And they're not physical either. So, how you know they exist? Well, there are some people that says, listen, Freud was a madman. But if Freud was a madman, then the rest of us, I don't know what can be said about the rest of us. According to Freud's model of the psyche, the id is the primitive and instinctual part of the mind that contains sexual and aggressive drives and hidden memories. The superego operates as a moral conscience, and the ego is the realistic part that mediates between the desires of the id and the superego. So between the desires of aggressiveness and sexual desires mixed in with our repressed memories and the conscience that the moral conscience that we have to regulate that. In between all of that sits the reality. And although each part of the personality comprises unique features, somehow they interact to form a whole. And each part makes a relative contribution to an individual's behavior. So there isn't just one thing that is used to pretty much determine who we are. Now, the id, the primitive and instinctive component of personality, consists of all the inherent, the biological components of personality that's present at birth, including the sex, which is instinctual, eros, which contains the libido, and the aggressive, the death instinct, thanatos. Now, the id is the impulsive, the unconscious part of the psyche. And this responds directly and immediately to the instincts. The personality of the newborn child is all id. And only later on does it develop an ego and a superego. So it's all impulsive. Everything that happens, it's almost by reflex. Now, the id remains infantile in its function throughout a person's life and does not change with time or experience. Well, that's because it's not in touch with the external world. The id is not affected by reality. It is not fazed by logic. None of that. The things that we are exposed to in the everyday world, it is not affected by that. It operates within the unconscious part of the mind. The id operates on the pleasure principle. Who was that? Marlon? Janet Jackson? Pleasure principle? In 1920, that was the idea that Freud had put out there. The idea that every wishful impulse should be satisfied immediately, regardless of the consequences. It needs to be satisfied. And when the id achieves its demands, then we get pleasure. And when it is denied of what it wants, then we have tension. So those people that you see walking around stressed, it's because their id is requiring some attention and it's being denied. Yes? Based on what we're told by Freud, that is the case. But you can't really follow my reasoning, because my reasoning is out there in left field. Now, the id, thank you, Marlon. The id engages in primary process thinking, which is primitive, illogical, irrational, and fantasy oriented. And this form of process thinking has no comprehension of objective reality. This is the selfish and the wishful in nature. So that part of us that just wants what it wants for self, the part of us that is always dreaming of that thing, that's the id. So I don't know if that is the me, the myself, or the I, but it's the id. Now, the part that gets modified by the direct influence of the external world is called the ego. Now, the ego develops to mediate between the unrealistic id and the external real world. It is the decision-making component of personality. So this is the part that we need to pay close attention to. Ideally, the ego works by reason. The id, chaotic and unreasonable. The ego, reasonable. Well, we'd like to think. The ego operates according to the reality principle, working out realistic ways of satisfying the id's demands, often compromising or postponing satisfaction to avoid negative consequences of society. The ego considers social realities and norms, etiquette and rules, all these in deciding how to behave. Like the id, the ego seeks pleasure, as in tension reduction, and it avoids pain. But unlike the id, the ego is concerned with devising a realistic strategy to obtain pleasure. So it's more concerned about, alright, am I going to walk away from this after I get that level of pleasure that I so crave? The ego has no concept of right or wrong. Something is good simply if it achieves its end of satisfying without causing harm to itself or the id. No right, no wrong. Satisfaction. Period. Often, the ego is weak relative to the headstrong id. And the best the ego can do is to stay on, pretty much pointing the id in the right direction and claiming some credit at the end as if the action were its own. So, although the ego is weak, it has strong influence. How exactly it does that, I'm not too sure. It's like water. You know, you can do whatever with water, but it is a whole lot more powerful than you. You know what I mean? Freud made the analogy of the id being a horse and the ego, the rider. The ego is like a man on horseback who has to hold in check the superior strength of the horse. Now, I'll tell you this about horses. Having been around them quite a bit in the last few months, horses are majestic creatures. We know that. They're powerful creatures. But you tame a horse and you wield an amazing amount of control once you get that horse's respect. So you really have this amazing control over the horse without even words, just by gestures. You can maintain control over that horse. And that is what the ego does with the id. The id is this powerful thing. And the ego does, oh, well, I may not be as powerful as you. However, I have the technique to keep you subdued. That's technique, for those of you wondering. Now, if the ego fails in its attempt to use the reality principle and anxiety is experienced, unconscious defense mechanisms are employed. And this is to help ward off unpleasant feelings, the feelings that you get with the anxiety. Or it makes good things feel better for the individual. The ego engages in secondary process thinking, which is rational, realistic, and oriented towards problem solving. If a plan of action does not work, then it's the thought through again. It is then thought through again. Excuse me. Until a solution is found. So we're going back and coming again and going back and coming again. Each time return to the drawing board and seeing if we can come again to get a better solution. This is considered to be reality testing. And that is what enables a person to control their impulses and demonstrate self-control. And this is done by way of the mastery of the ego. Now, an important feature of clinical and social work is to enhance the ego functioning and help the client test reality through assisting the client to think through their options. So the whole idea is not to change the thought per se, but to extend the thought for a better result. You get it? Cool. Now, so that's the id and the ego. So what then is the superego? Well, that one now is the one that incorporates the values and morals of society, which are learned from one's parents and others as you're growing up. It develops around the age of 3 to 5, somewhere around there, during the phallic stage of psychosexual development. The superego's function is to control the id's impulses, especially those which society forbids. Things like sex and aggression. The superego is supposed to control that. It also has a function of persuading the ego to turn to moralistic goals rather than simply realistic ones. And this is in order to strive for perfection. The superego consists of 2 systems, because one is just not enough. The conscience and the ideal self. The conscience can punish the ego through causing feelings of guilt. For example, if the ego gives in to the id's demands, the superego may make the person feel bad through guilt. The ideal self, or ego ideal, is an imaginary picture of how you ought to be and represents career aspirations, how to treat other people, and how to behave as a member of society. So let's go back to the example. The ego wasn't influential enough to handle the id's demands. And the superego comes by and does the scolding and makes the whole person feel bad about it. The moral compass is carried by the superego. So society influences the superego the most. Impulse is what drives the id. So which one then is a true reflection of who you are? That's something to think about. Things that make you go, Behavior which falls short of the ideal self may be punished by the superego through guilt. The superego can also reward us through the ideal self when we behave properly by making us feel proud. Now, if a person's ideal self is too high a standard, then whatever the person does will represent failure. You know, those people who are always saying, boy, I can't do anything right. Those are the ones where the ideal self, the standard is way too high. The ideal self and conscience are largely determined in childhood from parental values and how you were brought up. So that's the influence of your immediate society. Which of those three would you say is what you can identify with the most? Is there one? Or do you find yourself at a reasonable or reasonably gentle medium, a balanced plateau? I wonder. Things that make you go, The id, the ego, the superego. Impulse, rationality, conscience. We'll be right back after these few messages. We'll talk some more.
Pulsey Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsey Media Group.
Are you crazy about the music industry? You aspire to hit it big in music. Or maybe you've sweated out a soulful killer beat and are now stuck finding it's not as easy as it looked. Oh, but it can be easy for you with JTMC. We've been there, we know how it feels, so we solve challenges like production, promotion, marketing, branding and development, and more. With over 30 years of experience, JTMC is a one-stop shop for artists. We handle your graphic design, writing services, PR, as well as event planning, e-blasts, artist management and bookings, so also your website and social media needs as well. We're experts in using creativity to persuade audiences on behalf of artists, drawing on our diverse experience to create projects that connect with audiences intellectually and emotionally. Artist success is everything to us, and our years of experience and commitment will be behind you for every one of your needs. If you've got music for the world to hear, whether you're a new or established artist, visit us at jtmcenterprise.com.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
It's Christine representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin's Chew and the night shift radio show. Yo, it thing at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Whoa, DJ Kevin's Chew have the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin's Chew, believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the night shift radio show, Christine. It's a heart it up. Loud. Kill the beast.
Sadly, pick up another day, Nana. Yeah. It's like we spend more of every people than save life. I coulda when them gone, but I never to them I skate. I'm more for the dead than those where your life find it hard to visit. But then the funeral time, now them pull up a careful escort, they casket. But them a take no time to stop and go and chill. Me see clear, them never respect the man. Now him number one on every chart. All day. Everybody has a one talented, like them only realize it when him dead. Hypocrites. And that's why me chant that song, yeah. It's like them rather you dead, before them give you that break. It's like them rather you gone, like you never did born. It's like them rather you dead, before them give you that break. It's like them rather you gone, like you never did born. Me like a death alone, I make the people push out full black. So me now white ink and bush out. Selfie with big smile, just a muggle and pose. It's like them trifle, the person drop out. So me big up the youth, them when you do them thing. And I try hard now, wait till them ship a sing. Big up everyone, we give a man an opportunity. Never forget how you do for me. Picture this, I love one end up down the hospital. Doctor tell them it a get critical. People say them on a money for Western Union, but them fly down to the funeral. It's like them rather you dead, before them give you that break. It's
The sound of St. Matthew.
like you never did born. It's like them rather
Track called Rather You Dead.
before them give you that break. It's like them rather you gone, like you never did born.
I want to thank y'all for sticking around. Go ahead and share, bring some friends on in. 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. I want to say thanks to GMAT Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the show. So, in real talk tonight, we're talking about the id, the ego, and the super ego. We're asking the question really, who are you? You know, and when it comes to an individual's personality, it is these things that you're really talking about. Do recognize that when talking about the id, the ego, and the superego, we need to remember, and this is important. I know what I said before we went on a commercial break, and that was real to get you thinking. Which one do you mostly associate with or can relate to? But these are not three separate entities. Well, not totally anyway. They don't have clearly defined boundaries. These aspects of personality are dynamic and always interacting within a person to influence an individual's overall personality and behavior. Now, with these competing forces, it's easy to see how conflict may arise between the id, the ego, and the superego. It's bad enough when it's just one that you have to deal with. But when you have to deal with three, that can be a little bit rough. Freud used the term ego strength to refer to the ego's ability to function despite the dueling forces. A person with good ego strength is able to effectively manage these pressures, while those with too much or too little ego strength can become too unyielding or too disrupting. One is a little bit too rigid and one is too flexible. According to Freud, the key to a healthy personality is a balance between the id, the ego, and the superego. So, what then happens if there is no balance? Or what is considered to be an imbalance? If the ego is able to adequately moderate between the demands of reality, the id, and the superego, a healthy and well-adjusted personality emerges. Freud believed that an imbalance between the two elements would lead to a maladaptive personality. An individual with an overly dominant id, for example, may become impulsive, uncontrollable, may even be criminal. This individual acts upon their most basic urges with no concern for whether the behavior is appropriate, acceptable, or even legal. Pause. What determines if a behavior is appropriate or acceptable? That would be what the moral mass has decided, or the mass decision based on a common level of moral behavior or moral concepts, right? A common moral concept. So that is what would make it appropriate or acceptable. So if you consider yourself one to go against the norm, then some of your actions would be considered inappropriate. So then you'd probably be one who your id is a little bit more dominant and your ego doesn't do such a very good job of balancing your id with your superego. Start thinking now, right? Don't sweat it. Let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. Don't sweat it. Until you go to a professional and they say to you, all right, I have the perfect new wardrobe for you. If you slide your arms in here, don't mind the dangling belts, they tie in the back. If you get a wardrobe adjustment with a jacket like that, then you know there's an imbalance somewhere, a severe imbalance. An overly dominant superego, on the other hand, so you have a dominant id that could make you criminal. An overly dominant superego might actually lead to a personality that is extremely moralistic and quite possibly judgmental. This person now may be very hard or maybe unable to accept anything or anyone that they perceive as bad or immoral. And an excessively dominant ego can also result in problems. So the overly dominant superego is the one that is the finger wagger, because as far as they are concerned, there is very little right that you can do. An excessively dominant ego is not exempt from problems. An individual of this type might be so tied to reality, that rules and appropriateness, that they are unable to engage in any type of spontaneous or unexpected behavior. Everything for them has to be planned out specifically and given time for that to fall into place. That type of individual would seem concrete, rigid, incapable of accepting change, and lacking an internal sense of right from wrong. So Freud's theory then provides one conceptualization of how personality is structured and how these different elements of personality function. In Freud's view, a healthy personality results from a balance in the dynamic interaction of the id, the ego, and the superego. Now, while the ego has the tough job of maintaining balance, it doesn't have to do it alone. Anxiety also plays a role in helping the ego to mediate between the demands of the basic urges, moral values, and the real world. And remember, it is the ego that is in touch with the real world. When you experience different types of anxiety, defense mechanisms may kick in to help defend the ego and reduce the anxiety that you're feeling. When that happens, well, all being well, that it does so in a balanced way. You should now get to a state of what is considered to be normal. How many of us are actually normal? Who determines that?
Just cool my mind, bad man know the rule no man. Bad man go to school no man, bad man know the tool no man. Just cool my mind, bad man know the rule.
This is Ronkus
Man go to school.
featuring Royal Blue. A track called Just Cool.
Yeah. I come from the place where killers a million, the villains a play fear. But them the boss and the thug them the pay fear. Babies having babies in the daycare. Gaza at the place where tell the wrong class I make your brain wave. But I run fast, white in the race fear. Worse is them bleach on your block, better stay clear.
At the place when I show unless the green ready. Only mama them know and respect at Elise Kelly. At the place where them know all the text when I read heavy. And if you have an issue, people magazine ready. But them shoot for your goal if you see messy. Where high grades make you breathe heavy. At the place where them preach education is the key. And dreadlocks cannot free and just cool no man. Bad man know the rule no man. Bad man go on to school no man. Bad man load the tool no man. Just cool no man. Bad man know the rule no man. Bad man go on to school no man. Bad man load the tool no man. I come from the place that everywhere's a bar. Better stay in the car. Everywhere's a church with a prayer that aliens with the white knives, look at eardrops, each idea with the 9Y. Cause them 8 block, every grade of them fine high. But them 8 must disappear every guideline till them face drop. Who learn to it? Sign of the times that I would turn the page. From my place to investing on the match, cause the man's a revive from 238. Who learn to it? Chops all day, well I would turn to play. From my place to them preach education is the key. Who like it, make it seem like school right now safe. School no man, bad man know the rule no man. Bad man go on to school no man. Bad man load the tool no man. Just school no man. Bad man know the rule no man. Bad man go on to school.
Yeah, tell you why I'm from a side where them the mind making hella rise. Genocides and enterprise. Many die at any time. Body fine but never identified, don't mind. When you hide, it's never wise. Cut in the 9, go like a 9, and in your life the fear links a 9 for 9 lives. It's a fine line for when you smile or when you cry. You walk into the pressure, depression in your eyes. I come from a place where there's another surprise. I come from a place where you make it is a surprise. And many ready for envy and settle for your demise. Them up of vendetta you never can rectify. Burn a burn, testify, you never can testify. You never can testify, burn a burn, testify, you never testify.
Cool no man, bad man know the rule no man. Bad man go on to school no man. Bad man load the tool no man. Just cool no man.
10 minutes to the top of the hour.
No man. Bad
I want to say welcome to 884
man load the tool no man.
and 534.
Why should I listen when your granny say? Should I listen when the teacher say?
773-789 Stu gets you in touch. 773-789-7839.
Where is school at?
10 minutes to the top of the hour. So basically, talking psychologically, personality refers to a person's unique and enduring pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Id, ego, and superego. Is he the son of determined, Marlon? I get to understand he's a protege of protege. But I didn't know he was a son of determined. Cool. You see? I tell you, listen, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know something about people in the reggae music industry? You check Marlon. Real Rockers, Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 10. Rockthebox.net, 24th Century Media, One Harmony Radio, Foundation Radio Network. Where am I leaving out, Marlon? Am I leaving out? I know I'm leaving out some people. Just look up Marlon Borrell on your social media. Yeah, is that cool guy, cool looking. You look at him and you can just see cool. Yeah, it's him. With the glasses, yeah, it's him. Alright, so yeah, back to where we are. Personality. Enduring pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Id, ego, superego. When viewed in this manner, it becomes evident that personality encompasses nearly every aspect of human experience. Subsequently, our personalities have the potential to greatly impact our well-being, physically or otherwise. In particular, the quality of our relationships is significantly affected by our personalities. Who are you? Moreover, because human beings are social creatures, our personalities greatly influence our overall success and satisfaction with life. So these are pretty bold assertions. Okay, cool. Well, let's look a little bit at the relationship between our personalities and our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. In each and every moment, we receive enormous amounts of information that from everything that is going on around us in the world. Psychologists use the term environment to refer to the external events going on around us. And we receive this information from our environment. It undergoes a subjective internal process of evaluation and interpretation. We begin with a subjective evaluation of the information detected by our senses, what we see, hear, taste, smell, etc. Then an interpretive thought forms about what we think is going on. In addition, the information is assigned some kind of meaning and importance. This now occurs when we experience an array of feelings in varying degrees of intensity. This is feelings about what we think is going on around us. The intensity of the feelings that arise in us is usually determined by the importance we assign to a particular thought. We tend to have very strong feelings about things that are important to us, and less intense feelings about things that are less important. This process of interpretation, or thoughts, and assigning meaning and importance, that's the feelings about those thoughts, and will then determine our behavioral response to these external events in our environment. How do we sum that up? Well, basically what we think and feel determines how we behave. Put in a nutshell. Now, not only does the environment impact our behavior, but our behavior will subsequently impact the environment. See the exchange? So there's a dynamic interactive exchange between the environment and our personalities. What we think, what we feel, how we behave. This interactive exchange creates a circular feedback loop that leads to the development and maintenance of habitual patterns of exchange between a person and their environment. These habitual patterns form the foundation of personality. Therefore, the environment influences development of our personalities, and our personalities influence how we respond to the environment. Alright, so you grasped all of that, right? Suppose a woman has smiled at a man with sincere and genuine kindness, and the man observed that this had happened. So the smiling woman is an event occurring in the external environment. Cool. As the man subjectively evaluates what he observed, they may incorrectly interpret the smile as a smirk. Now, that interpretation of the smile as a smirk then causes that man to become suspicious about her motivations and begins to feel worried. Then starts thinking, I really don't like people smirking at me in that tone. What if this woman is planning to hurt me? Now, when a man starts thinking about a woman hurting him, that's a problem. Now, because that man suspects malicious intent from the smirking woman, they're likely to behave in a negative way. Maybe there may be some unkind comment to the smirking. I'll deal with her case if she tries anything. No, because he is thinking that and probably has said something unkind. The once happy, smiling woman is now upset. And she in turns reacts and shout something like, "You're a jerk." Now, the man comes to the conclusion, there you go, I was right. She meant to cause me some kind of harm. She doesn't even know me and she's calling me a jerk. That is how the circular pattern is formed between the environment and our personalities. And it also shows that once formed, these patterns are reinforced and maintained over time to create an enduring pattern. So the thoughts, the unique subjective internal interpretation of the environment and the thoughts that came as a result about the environment. That is, the woman smirking, not smiling, although she was smiling, not smirking. That led to the man's suspicious and wary feelings, him being cautious. And the suspicious feelings then led to the unkind behavior, causing the smiling woman, the environment, to change. So the formerly smiling woman is now upset, calls the guy a jerk. You see how it happened, the feedback, the loop, all this is happening. Over time, patterns like this form in the environment, and this will cause enduring patterns of internal experience and behavior to develop. So people eventually develop habits of interpreting and responding to the environment that influence the way they experience and interpret the world. #happy always encourages us to smile at someone. And if you do it as a social experiment, you realize, listen, these people smile back. How many people? Here it is. I just got a message. My smile gets me in trouble all the time. Is it in trouble where you have done something wrong, or in trouble where it is interpreted as an invitation to come and be social? I'm thinking it's more the latter. It's either that or your smile is like a smirk. So it would then be like the scenario that was presented. It can be really tricky, but it shows how things in our environment influence our behavior, influence our thoughts, and then that thought influences our behavior. Smiles are contagious, Marlon. But so are smirks, apparently. So one puts you in a good position and the other one not so good. So if your smile is misinterpreted as a smirk, I suggest you work on your smile. That's my only suggestion, my one and only suggestion for right now anyway. Work on your smile if it comes across as a smirk. Top of the hour. Thanks to GMAP Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the show. We're gonna go and take a quick little break, and when we come back, we talk some more. We look at some possible mental personality disorders and why. Yeah, we can do that for the last half an hour, maybe less. Give you something to think about. We'll be right back.
Roll out with Island Rock Music and have fun. Check out the quality apparel at islandrockmusic.com. Designed for you and your crew. Hear the music, feel the breeze, with selected tracks and more. Available now from the online store at islandrockmusic.com. islandrockmusic.com. Log on today and ride with us.
Stepping, this a roots vibration. Stepping.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
JTMZ Music presents the highly anticipated, much talked about, The Juggling Rhythm Volume 1. This classic rhythm takes on a new life with tracks from both established artists and introduces some incredible new voices. Get your dancing shoes ready with The Juggling Rhythm, featuring international reggae dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, alongside Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson, Jack Radix, Hezron, Dangling, Joanna Marie featuring Galaxy P, Denny Ranks featuring Jawiz, Ambalik, Christine Alicia, Yishka. Also the new sensations on the rhythm: Zeal, Danger Lee, Marquis Skelenar, Zachary. Available on all digital media outlets. The Juggling Rhythm. Get it, get it, get it.
Yes. Akar Mantino, I'm making notes right now. You are locked in to DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift.
No, she said no, you can't look back, Natasha. No, she said no, you can't look back, Natasha. No, she said no, you can't look back, Natasha. You can look, hey, sweet lady. I wanna say something politely, and I hope you don't misunderstand me. Can I hold your hands? She said, no, you can look, sweet lady, sweet lady. Your body is driving me crazy. You just don't know what you're doing to me. Just wanna hold your hand. But she said no, you can't look back, Natasha. She said no, you can't look back, Natasha. Hey, no. She said no. You can't look back, Natasha. Well, this a verse about a woman who me like. Try me, I try, but she not give me no blight. Tell her because of her, me just can't sleep at night. Tell her if she love me, her future be bright. Tell her we me buy her anything that she like. And if you keep her happy, I my greatest delight. But I saw me get to know, say I me, she a spite. She tell me, say me ex-girlfriend, say me lie. Now every day she passing at the tightest ties. Now Facebook turn up with likes. Hey, sweet lady, sweet lady. I just wanna say something politely, and I hope you don't misunderstand me. No, baby, I just wanna hold your hand. She said no, you can't. Hey, lady, sweet lady. Your body's driving me crazy. You just don't know what you're doing to me. Oh no, baby. I just wanna hold your hand. But you said no, you can't look back, Natasha. And she said no, you can't look back, Natasha. No. I know it may seem I came off a little strong.
The sound of Hezron.
I know, but baby,
on the Juggling Volume 1.
My life, I don't think
Juggling Volume 2 is coming.
No, 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 no.
7 minutes after the hour, I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing.
Did you so baby?
So, apparently it turns out that that smile I mentioned before we took a little break,
Should say yes.
smile is often interpreted as come on. What kind of smile do you have? I would like a demonstration, please, or an explanation with images. So I want to see your smile to see if I interpret it as a come on, as to say you should come on or you are coming on. Which one is it with your smile? Is it? It must be in your eyes. And if that is the case, and that is in your eyes, then your id shows up in your eyes more than anything else? How does that work? I'm so curious. Maybe I should go study the human psyche for real. Alright, quick point of announcement, a little bit of info, shameless plug if you so wish. My good brethren Marlon, covering all the media bases, Ruler Brown Network, 25th Century Radio, Irizan Radio, Global Rinks Radio, Viscosity Blend, rockthebox.net. That takes care of the media houses where you can catch Marlon on Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Alright. What was that, Marlon? Some people are just suspicious when they smile. Or when you smile, regardless of what kind of smile. Alright. And then there are some people that just smile and you think, oh, I'm in. She smiled at me and you should see that smile. Alright. So, those are the ones that you can look at but not touch. Yeah? Thank you, Hezron. Now, there is a thing called the ego syntonic and ego dystonic. Ever heard of it? And the two are terms that are often used by psychologists. And there are concepts that are used in the treatment of behavioral disorders in psychoanalysis. Now, if you're one who is interested in psychoanalysis, then you might want to pay attention. And you may recognize a person who has some of the mental disorders that we'll talk about. But what's the difference between the two types of disorders? Well, first of all, psychoanalysis includes many psychological and psychotherapeutic theories and techniques created by that man, Sigmund Freud. And some or most of us would have probably heard of Freud's structural model of the psyche, which we kind of touched on earlier. The id, the ego, superego, remember? Right. So those are the important parts of our psychic apparatus. Now, basically we have gone through what those three are. So the ego syntonic and ego dystonic is what exactly? They're mental disorders that include our ego. Now, ego syntonic is a term that was introduced back in 1914. And Freud introduced this term referring to values, ideas, or behaviors of a person that are acceptable to that person. These are some ideas that come to us naturally. Ego syntonic actually refers to something that is normal and acceptable for an individual. In this particular case, our ego is comfortable with our behaviors and our conclusions. So it is not important how other people see our behavior. People with ego syntonic disorder may also experience hallucinations, and they think the voices they hear are real, hence being friends with the voices inside of their heads. These persons do not recognize their symptoms as threatening or problematic. On the other hand, the ego dystonic is a term in psychoanalysis that refers to behaviors and thoughts of a person who are persons who are not acceptable. So the thoughts of a person that are not acceptable to that person. Now, this includes all behaviors and impulses that are different from our ideas and our beliefs. People who got a message here that was a little bit distracting, but had nothing much to do with the show. Strange. People who with ego dystonic disorder usually think that some external forces have been involved or on their personal life. These people are aware that they have a problem and they want to get rid of the problem, the disorder. And the symptoms of ego dystonic behavior are usually experienced as very painful in an emotional sense. The first time I heard about ego dystonic disorder was with someone who had a bet, an ongoing bet with someone else. And because they're sports fans, the bet was when their teams played against each other, the winning team, the one that supports the losing team, wears the jersey of the winning team. And one person said it actually hurt them to wear that jersey. The jersey isn't doing anything physical to them, but it actually hurt them to wear it. That is an ego dystonic behavior. One of the most common examples of ego syntonic behavior is actually anorexia nervosa. You know what that is, right? It's an eating disorder where patients consider their eating habits completely normal. And it's very popular or frequent with teenage girls. Girls and women who suffer from anorexia are obsessed with their weight and they're afraid of weight gain. Now, these patients usually become very skinny and they lose too much of their body weight. People with this kind of disorder cannot accept that their eating behavior is wrong. They are not aware of the fact that their body weight is just too low, so it could actually lead to a lot of health problems and even death. A person that is suffering from anorexia will probably look ill to everybody around them. But they themselves, they don't see that problem. The person will think that they're looking quite fine, they look completely normal, and they don't have a problem. The next thing is that that person will also see themselves as being fat, overweight. A person who is stealing considers that behavior, that thinks that that behavior is normal is another situation. So if they're a thief, then stealing comes naturally. They will not feel guilty after stealing. And most people would consider stealing as ego dystonic behavior, because they don't feel good about it. If you steal something, you probably feel guilty, but people with this type of disorder, they don't feel guilty at all. Another ego syntonic behavior is the behavior of a serial philanderer. Most people would describe this behavior as wrong, but the person with the disorder says, I'm fine, I'm normal. There's one more condition. The obsessive compulsive behavior, which is actually an ego dystonic disorder. Patients that are diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, they're suffering from different obsessions. They repeat some behaviors that may cause a lot of emotional and also mental stress. And these behaviors are repetitive, the washing of the hands, repetitive cleaning, that kind of thing. This type of disorder refers to someone's need to check several times if the doors are locked. I guess you could call them paranoid. Now, it is said to be very difficult to treat ego-syntonic types of mental disorders. And the best way to go about doing it is to make the behavior ego dystonic. So remember now, ego syntonic is where the individual believes that what they're doing is okay. The serial killer thinks that whatever they're doing is justifiable and they should just continue doing it. Ego syntonic. The only way to treat that is to let them believe or let them know that that's not an acceptable behavior. It's not a morally right thing to do. Again, what is morally acceptable is typically what the norm, more than 50% of society, says is okay. The patients in being treated will make changes to their behaviors only if the syntonic becomes dystonic. It is much easier to treat obsessive compulsive disorders because a person is able to recognize the problem. Patients who are suffering from this kind of disorder will be active in the process of treatment. They try to stop with their OCD thoughts and behaviors. But sometimes, for whatever reason, they just cannot do it. So, with ego being one of three parts of Freud's model of our psyche, it is usually defined as a false sense of self that is controlling our actions and behaviors. Ego syntonic and ego dystonic are opposite terms that are commonly used in psychoanalysis. Ego syntonic refers to an experience that is in harmony with our self-image. It is a behavior or idea that we consider absolutely normal. We don't feel guilty when we do something that may be wrong for other people. On the other hand, the ego dystonic, that's when we do something that is not good for us and we're aware of it. We find our behavior uncomfortable and unacceptable, but we still do it. As we have already said before, just now, things like the repetitive hand washing, the OCD type behaviors, the cleaning, the compulsive cleaning, the repetitiveness, things like that. So it's much easier to treat the dystonic behavior because the individual is aware that there's something is wrong, that there's something wrong. But the syntonic behavior, the ego syntonic behavior, that's real difficult because the individual thinks that their ideas and behaviors are absolutely fine, that it's normal to behave the way that they behave. Now, putting this all together in a nice gift basket and putting a bow on it, looking at personality, we look at personality disorders. And we look at those, the ego, syntonic and dystonic. And many psychologists and mental health professionals have struggled with how to define a disordered personality, really, as distinguished from a healthy one. And they have said that it may be most helpful to think about someone with a healthy personality as a person who accurately interprets their environment. So their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors reasonably correspond with the reality of their environment. Not in the case of the individual suffering from anorexia. So they can accurately appraise their own strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. Likewise, they can accurately identify the strengths, weaknesses, and motivations of others. Accurately. And a person with a healthy personality is someone who can navigate the world effectively with a minimum of unproductive detours. And they usually manage to stay clear of major issues. That's an individual with a healthy personality. We all have issues, conflicts, hardships that can cause us distress. We don't behave well all the time. Sometimes we annoy other people. Some storms are inevitable, some detours are difficult to resist. Personality disorders is something that is a variant from a normal, healthy personality. So it is quite reasonable to expect that healthy personalities will experience difficulty some of the time. In order for a personality disorder to be diagnosed, an enduring pattern needs to be present. And this pattern consists of problematic behaviors and traits, usually starting early in life, and then observed across many different situations over a long period of time. And typically, they can cause distress, a significant amount of it. But it all stems from the three things: the id, the ego, the superego, and the balance being shifted. At what point does the shift in balance occur? That's for the professionals to determine. How badly shifted is it? Again, for the professionals to determine. But ultimately, you want to know that someone is looking out for that individual or you. And the support system means well. And hopefully, the end result will be pretty good, and you'll be able to manage a whole lot better.
I can see you smile again. It's a new beginning. Now you're winning, yes. You say you're tired of the arguments, yes. You're stepping out on faith under new management now.
I want to say thanks to JTMC Enterprises for sponsoring this segment of the show.
You're stepping out on faith under new management, yes. And it feels so great. You're tired of the use and abuse, feeling neglected and taken for granted. It's no use to be lingering on when the feeling is gone. He had his cake and ate it, and now we regret it. Too late is the cry. He should have given you status and make you feel special instead of living a lie. I went instead you fuck, you know furniture. I'm not tree never growing on your face. You never know, so you have a good friend in your corner. Who could I deal with the case? You say you're tired of the arguments, yes. You're stepping out on faith under new management now. And it feels so great. You're tired of the arguments, yeah. Stepping out on faith. Now you're free at last. It's like a weight off your shoulder. Thank God you survived. A happy life is what you were after, and now you're living the life. You're too blessed to be stressed. No more fuss and fight. It's a new beginning. You're walking by faith and not by sight. And now you're winning. I went instead you fuck. You know furniture. And a tree never growing on your face. You never know, say you have a good friend in your corner. Who could I deal with the case? You say you're tired of the arguments, yeah.
Best believe there's a good friend in your corner.
Out on faith under new management now.
According to Sir Rockwell,
Feels so great. You're tired of the arguments.
the Joseph Grindstone calling card.
I went instead you fuck. You know furniture.
Joseph Aloysius Grindstone,
You never know, say you have a good friend.
the son of Hope and the Penlindo,
Could I deal with the case? You say
under new management.
yes. You're stepping out on faith under new management now. And it feels so great. You're tired of the arguments, yes. You're stepping out on faith under new management now. And it feels so great. We're gonna lay it on
Are we?
right on early 'cause the heat is on. Yeah.
I like that plan, Joanna.
Know that you're ready.
I am.
Lay it on now.
Okay, let's go.
Now that we are moving in the groove.
This is Joanna Marie, and it's all about DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift. You feel for some stew? Check out Kevin Stew. Hey babe,
Yes, babe.
you know, I really want you close to me.
I want to be close to you too.
I like the way you feel.
That's because I'm touching you.
We're gonna
Okay.
lay it on right on early 'cause the heat is on, yeah. And I know that you're ready. Let us lay it on now. Now that we are moving in the groove. Oh, Kevin, you're so good. I miss a hush, darling. Hush, even if it hurts to cry. Hush, darling.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be here.
I'm gonna tell you why. Hush, darling.
29 minutes to the hour, we're into our musical therapy. Courtesy of the Wake Up and Live show.
We'll keep you warm, darling. Hey babe, yeah. I love when you're next to me. Yeah, darling. Hush, 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 hush. Oh, we're gonna lay it on now.
Yeah, you need to be quiet, just hush, relax. The sound of Joanna Marie on the Hush Darling rhythm. You see, this is the makings of the Juggling Volume 2 right here. Hush, shh.
Don't you dare give up.
This is the sound of Slash.
I will no day, no way. Taking it one day at a time. Every day.
Encouraging us to take it one day. Don't rush it.
So take
one day at a time.
one day at a time. Every day is fine. Times were rough, but it's no excuse. Still got a chance to make it, yes. I push on once, not give me life. Born to be great, now plan for lose. If me syndicate me, I go take it, yes. If I keep running, come along in the prize. Even though the road is so rocky, I'm still gonna try. Cause mama never raised me to be no loser. So I'll be chasing the paper till the day that I die. The lifestyles of the rich and famous, my future. Taking it one day at a time. Every day is fine. So taking it one day at a time. Every day is fine. Listen. Some man a sprint, some man a jog, but we still a reach with destination, yes. No man no better than a man, so relax. Been through the fire, but man still a trance. Still a push past the tribulations, yes. Keep my meds, I'm going to do the work, yes. So even though the road is so rocky, I'm still gonna try. Cause mama never raised me to be no loser. So I'll be chasing the paper until the day that I die. The lifestyles of the rich and famous, my future. I'm taking it one day at a time. Every day is fine. Yes, I'm taking it one day at a time. Every day is fine.
Tribute to the grandparents, Grand, Pops, Baba, Sicey, loving it,
I can see it real clear right now. I'd be running up the street with my shirt wide open, not knowing if you're there or not, but that you spot at the shop, so I really was hoping. Been a couple weeks since I seen you last. Can't you tell that your grandson's growing? That was the little boy in me. I wasn't thinking, I never know where.
This is the sound of G. Cole.
The day you'd be gone.
The same J. Cole that hosts Homegrown with J. Cole.
That you live for. Never thought that you would leave me. Now who's gonna keep me strong?
The track is called Till This Day.
Me strong and keep me safe from harm. Sometimes my soul just walks away, and it leaves me so empty. It's been happening since that day that you upped and you left me. It still kills me till this day. I wasn't there to send you on your way. Granny won't you say a little prayer for me? Like you used to do when I was younger. Papa, know you're smiling down on me. Yeah, you're smiling but always get me over. Papa, know your words are still with me. You told me separate wiser from older. Miss Icy, won't you save a hug from me? Right now I could really use a shoulder. Yo, yo.
20 minutes to the top of the hour. 20 minutes before I get out of here for the remainder of the week.
Know that if I wanna talk to you, I just get on my knees, say a prayer and you hear me. I feel you in the air and the wind as it blows, and I know that you're near me. Never have to journey through life on my own, 'cause you are right there beside me. Jah called you home, gave you wings, sent you back, and told you to guide me. So you're not a really go, really go. Guess you really did live, oh. It's you that keeps me strong, and shelters me from storm. Sometimes my soul just walks away, and it leaves me so empty. It's been happening since that day that you upped and you left me.
Better late than never, happy.
Still kills me till this day. I wasn't there to help you on your way. Granny, won't you say a little prayer for me, like you used to do when I was young?
Glad to have you.
Papa, know you're smiling down on me. Now you're smiling but always get me over. Papa, know your words are still with me. You told me separate a wiser from older. Miss Icy, won't you save a hug from me?
Before I could run, I found you already settled down in the back of my mind. I know this is just a customary feeling. The moon is our deceiver that will leave you running blind. Your heart is falling. If I didn't know any better,
This is the sound of Wild Tree.
deeper and deeper it's true. I hear you calling. If I didn't know any better, and
How you doing, Happy?
in love with
Happy hump day to you.
Didn't want to look in the eyes of the one that I would be drawn to. I'm a moth lost in the fire. I know this is just a beautiful illusion, a case of the confusion between love.
I can't even say good evening to the wild one. I have to say the wild two.
Your heart is falling. If I didn't know any better, I'd be falling.
Welcome to the pot.
Deeper and deeper it's true. I hear you calling. If I didn't know any better, and I'd be in love when you burn down and said, I can hear you, baby, come, and you forget I ever came around.
Yeah, I know I cut off the part of if I didn't know any better that I happen to kind of just really love that part where Annette comes in the background. But double play from Wild Tree.
Does she play these games?
She makes herself insane, feeling like a picture in a frame. Trapped, conquered, unloved.
This one on the dancing. What's it? Dancing Time compilation. The Dancing Time album. Courtesy of Working Class Music. It's called Woman's World.
Jah gave her peace and harmony, so she could be free.
What's a woman supposed to do when the world got mad confused? She have to pick herself up, dust her clothes off, and get on the move.
It is a woman's work that shines so bright. It is a woman's work and spreads her light. It is a woman. It is a woman. It is a woman's work. Yeah. Jana, she's giving everything of herself and don't know what's in return. Truth is her way. You know she's got to elevate. Jah granted her with strength and love to spread and share everywhere.
A woman supposed to do when the world gone mad confused? She have to pick herself up, dust her clothes off, and get on the move.
It is a woman's work that shines so bright. It is a woman's work and spreads her light. It is a woman. It is a woman. It is a woman's work. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, oh Kevin, you're so good. Wishing you were by my side. Memories of you and I keep messing with my mind. I knew you were wrong, but two wrongs don't make a right. What we had was too strong.
This is Joanna Marie.
I didn't want to let you go.
A track called Bring It Back.
I really want you to know I'm missing you now. As much as you're missing me, I want it back, even better than what we had before. Now that we realize understanding is the key.
So I got 2 out of 3
Bring it back, I want you. Bring it back home to me.
from Wild Tree.
Bring back that love and home to me.
So if I have 2 of them,
Bring it back home.
that means I have all of them.
Bring back that love and baby. Bring it back just like you bring it back home to me. Bring it back.
Because one of them coming up here.
Bring it back, baby. I can hardly wait to see you. I'm getting anxious already. My heart, my soul, my mind knows this love is one of a kind. My body yearns for you. I'm missing you strong and praise. The ecstasy that awaits us has me already nervous. I didn't want to let you go. I really want you to know I'm missing you now as much as you're missing me. I want it back, even better than what we had before. Now that we realize understanding is the key. So bring back that love and baby. Bring it back, I want you. Bring it back home to me. Bring back that love and home to me. Come drive me, bring it back home to me. Bring back that love and baby. Bring it back just like you bring it back home to me. Bring it back home to me. Bring it back, baby.
In this world where things just don't go your way, remember it's part of your life.
Triple play from the Dancing Time album.
You got to stick to your dreams.
This is Yishka. It's called Shine Your Light.
Don't listen to the ones who tell you to forget your silly dreams. forces get you down. Live your life, my people, let your love light shine every day. Shine your light.
I got you, Happy.
Let negative forces get you down. Live your life, my people, let your love light shine every day. Follow the example of people who made it, and it's making it in this time. It's a shame if you give up on your dreams. Leave the naysayers behind.
Leave them behind you.
There will be days when things just don't go your way. Tomorrow will be a brighter day. You only lose when you refuse to conquer all the dreams you have inside. Shine your light, my people, don't let negative forces get you down. Live your life, my people, let your love light shine every day. Shine your light, my people, don't let negative forces get you down. Live your life, my people.
Don't let negative forces get you down, not at all.
Watch out. Here I come, yeah.
And as you shine your light, you don't hesitate to make yourself available. Here's a young man that's shining right now. Yeah, it's a wild bunch tonight.
Get it while it's hot, get it while it's fresh, get it while it's new and hot off the press.
The son of Tenor Blue. Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's hot, get it while it's heat.
Tenor Blue will be
You can know it.
on the VP Live Showcase this Saturday.
I'll be out of here. You see, I came through tonight to nice up this session. To shatter all doubts and answer your questions.
And he'll be my guest.
Who is
Lie. He won't be my guest.
intentions? Come on.
I'll be facilitating the Tenor Blue show come Monday.
They can celebrate like I say. So get it while it's hot, get it while it's fresh, get it while it's new and hot off the press.
So you heard it hot and fresh off the press. Tenor Blue right here. Community and Finance Night.
Free, 'cause next time around you
10 till midnight. Monday. Right after the legal segment for the diaspora. You know, I have to ask him about that lick shot thing.
There's no other time to open your eyes and discover. For no more shall we be undercover. Hear the sounds of the conscious lover. I tell your mother, tell your father, your sister, your brother. Grab your keys and your coat and come over. No more wishing on a four-leaf clover. So, get it while it's hot, get it while it's fresh, get it while it's new and hot off the press. Don't just settle for less, no.
8 minutes to the top of the hour.
While it's here, catch me if you can wait till next year. 'Cause I'll be out of here.
Yeah, don't wait. You know the numbers, Happy. Don't be shy.
How wide is the sky? How deep is the ocean? And what is the color of this simple potion? So if you love blue, then get yourself in motion. Dream.
Where you get this idea? Tenor Blue says, come get it. Shauna Dazzle says, take it.
One night stand, you want me take it, I'll leave it, but take it, but I need it. Don't wanna be your part-time. You want me take it, I'll leave it, but take it, but I need it. Calling my number, ringing my phone, pretend you like me, cause you're feeling alone. Me sit down and I watch you working your plan, getting me into position. You play like you're into me, tell me say you want me, so we keep up the game. Tell me you like to kiss me, swear that you miss me, but I thought the truth's plain. I don't wanna be your one night stand. You want me take it, I'll leave it, but take it, me I need it. Don't wanna be your part-time. You want me take it, I'll leave it, but take it, me I need it. No one like part-time love. You know one like part-time love. You know one like part-time love. No undercover, only full time for me. Like you don't see my quality, like you don't see I'm a wifey. Oh, you want me to get immunity? No way. My problem with you is you can't be honest. All you do is pretend. So I actually thought that we could have something, but I'm the fool in the end. You and me love, let me discover me see the two way you there. Stop with me and when me know where you want, you can try the truth now and again. I don't wanna be your one night stand. You want me take it, I'll leave you, but take it, me I need it. Don't wanna be your part-time. You want me take it, I'll leave you, but take it, me I need it. Don't wanna be your one night stand. You want me take it, I'll leave you, but take it, me I need it. Don't wanna be your part-time. You want me take it,
You look so guilty, guilty, guilty. When you look so guilty, guilty, guilty. Girl, you look so guilty, guilty, guilty. When you look
The song that is sending up sunshade sails.
so guilty, when you say that you love
The sound of Corey.
your eyes.
It's called Guilty Eyes. I want to thank you all for participating and sharing and tuning in tonight.
Girl, you tricky, and you
Or this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
come around, you don't stay.
My name is DJ Kevin Steele and this is how I like to do it to you, for you and with you. I'll be back on Monday.
Okay, don't even care to find out if I'm feeling lonely. You only show up when we get paid.
May not do the drive-by tomorrow. We'll see how that works out.
I'm looking straight through you like an x-ray.
Been told I need to go take care of some things.
And your eyes been giving you away. I'm thinking that I need to keep you at bay. Why your eyes
However,
so guilty when you say that you
Saturday VP Live Showcase. See you there.
so shifty. Every time you talk to me, I can't
I
trust
just want to encourage you to look out for members of your community as I get out of here. And your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, on the train,
You call me on the phone and don't
whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow.
bring it up again. Me no want to stress you, but baby, why you talk to me again unless you
And of course,
leaving for good, you're not returning.
whatever you're doing,
Lessons I've been learning. Why your eyes look so guilty?
I encourage you to be good.
Love me. Why your
But if you can't be good,
so shifty?
be good at it.
You talk to me, I can't trust you, girl. You tricky, and you always need money. When you come around, you don't stay. You collect and you step in a hurry. Listen, something kind of funny about the things you say. You snap.
Okay, happy.
But white is always shades of gray. While I keep giving and giving, support your fancy living. What was I thinking? Sure, I must be tripping. You missed the program, so me move on, baby. I know you're free to get your groove on, baby. You can stay out all night and party as you like, and find yourself another fool to put your moves on, baby. Why your eyes look so guilty when you say that you love me? Why your eyes move so shifty every time you talk to me? I can't trust you, girl. You're tricky, and you always need more.
Catch you all
You come around
on the weekend.
you collect.
On the strong end, it depends on how you feel about it.
Why your eyes look so
I'm out.
when you say that you love me.
Take care.
Your eyes move so shifty.
Peace and love.
When you talk to me, I can't trust you, girl. You're tricky, and you always need money. When you come around, you don't stay. you step in a hurry.
Consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.